Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to do Batman issue 525 at DC Comics. It's an Underworld storyline arc, and I'm not going into the whole Underworld storyline. I mean, it's about a demon called Neron. Uh, just if you're not familiar with it, just Google it. It's just an event in the DC universe. It's a cool one. I liked it a lot. So yeah, let's dive in. It's been made by Doug Moench, who's the writer, I believe. That's how you say it. Kelley Jones and John Beatty. I'm a fan of Kelley Jones. He is well, look at it. he is he's a fantastic artist. He is, in my opinion, very well with horror elements and dark elements. And what I mean with that, I'm going to show you a little bit later. He is also a little bit over exaggerating proportions and facial expressions and the whole world that he's building. He does it deliberately. That's his style, and I like that a lot. And yeah, let's dive in. I mean, again, freaking fantastic. Oh, by the way, I wasn't familiar with Kelley Jones. I believe my first introduction to his art was with Batman Red Rain. You know, the Elseworld storyline that he was bitten by Dracula, and then he turned into a vampire, and then he completely lost it. It's freaking fantastic. If you don't know what it is, check it out. Batman Red Rain, fucking awesome. I believe that's a trilogy or something with Catwoman later, and also Joker. Epic, just epic. Anyway, let's dive in. Where shall I begin? I mean, speaking of cool art, look at this. I'm not, how do you say, want to praise this artist too much, but I'm going to do it anyway. He can make a fucking good epic Batman. Look at this. Okay, moving on. Okay, so we have here Mr. Freeze, and he talks about, that life is ending sometimes when you get older. And he talks to this old rich people, and that he has the ability to put them into cryonic sleep until there is a cure for them. And basically he wants to offer his services because, well, they say, aren't you a criminal? And he says, well, yeah, I was, but now I'm reformed, and I want to use my technology and knowledges to do good. Stuff like that, but it's all a scam, of course. I mean, it's just, that's Mr. Freeze. So he says, he says, I want to share, now I wish to share my new technology for the betterment of humanity, rather than a commission of crime. So they had a little bit hesitant, and he says, please, no arguing. I ask no immediate commitment to anything. Just go home and think it over. Sleep on it, and come back to me tomorrow for an answer. So there's goons with him, and they call themselves Ice and Cube, like Ice Cube, the rapper. And why am I saying that? Well, I'm going to show you a little bit later. So I believe this Cube and this is Ice. You're really going to give him the freeze, or is it just a part of the scam tease? He says both. They're old and close to death, and one thing they can't resist is life. I'll freeze them, all right, and then I freeze their assets, everything they got. So yeah, like I said, I also, it looks a little bit weird. It seems that he has some kind of pants on his short skirt, not skirt, but shorts, and then his feet looks really tiny. His legs, I mean. Anyway. Then he says, when the unfortunate accidents occur, we perfectly positioned to pick up the pieces. And then Ice and Cube says, gets crazy all the time. Didn't even catch our rhyme. Rappers, Ice, we ain't. My lines, Cube, are too quaint. Knock it off, Ice. So yeah, these two henchmen and women are just rapping the whole time with rhyming. And that's a little bit that goes into this whole comic. This lines in here and words that is very over the top, very deliberate, like a very bad play. Or it also reminds me of the movie Batman and Robin. You know that one. Very exaggerated. But this is in a good way instead of the movie that was really bad. Depends on your opinion, of course. So they also say that he has changed since his meet with Neron, and Neron the demon. No sweat, Cube, long as we stay cool from here on. So all these puns about ice and cool has been thrown a lot here, just like in the movie. So skipping a few pages, sorry. And we go into the next night. And Colt says, they all refused, every one of them rejected my offer. And our Cube says, turn it down cold. Maybe because they're old? We freeze them anyway, all of them starting tonight. But Cube says, but without the signatures assigning power to the attorneys to the cryonics scam, how does this any good? So Freeze wants to forge signatures, but then Cube says, well, that's not going to work because they have to be notarized by a third party. And Freeze says, well, then we forget the assets and we're going to kill them on principle, or ice them on principle, as he said, and warm up for Gotham's new ice age. And and Cube and Ice thinks he is off the rails, but they go along with it anyway. So Freeze is gonna go on a killing sprees, with the old people, and he also leaves out a signature, and the cops doesn't know what that means. I mean, it's a circle and a smaller circle. I have no clue either because I'm not a detective, but Batman is. So look at this. It's just so Batman figured it out that it's Mr. Freeze, and he explains his origin to the reader, but also to I believe this is Tim Drake. Again, Batman looks so freaking cool. And then the pun starts coming in. He says, in more ways than one, he is the coldest killer of them all. And then Alfred says here, myself, sir, I always found it rather chilly down here in the cave. Hot cocoa or a cold lemonade? And Tim says, I believe, again, I'm not sure if it's Tim, but I believe it's Tim. Tim says that nobody talks about the escape and they never found any evidence because he was released following the positive psychological review. And I really love this shot. Just, the reflection, the ice, it's all on the nose, but it's very cool. Sorry, no pun intended. That wasn't right. I didn't do that on purpose. And Robin says, must have been one cool customer during this elevation to fool. And then Batman stops him. He says, no quips, Robin. We don't have time to waste. You're doing quips all the time, Batman. But also, Alfred says, height-faulted ceilings, so to speak, perpetually drafty. And then Batman says, stoic, invade the police computer log now. He says, okay, take it easy, says Robin. This isn't easy, Robin. It isn't fun. It's life and death. All right, so he says. And then he says, I love the way, again, how Kelley Jones, draws Batman with a very long, pointy ears, and it also changes the whole time. Like it has a life on its own. Very cool. And so Tim says, or Robin says, there are 3 complaints in the last day about suspected scam to rip off the elderly. And he says it's all, come back to the scam of the cryonics. And there was 2 callers supply the same telephone number from the bogus cryonics outfit. So Batman, wants to trace that phone call. And he says, I need an address. Trace the number, Robin. And again, with the quips from Alfred. Then, too, there is this frosty attitude which frequently prevails down here. And look at this, how cute this little Batmobile is. Like it's from a completely another era of time with the cats on it. Maybe a little bit of hints towards Catwoman because they do that a lot, I think, through the Batman comics. So funny. So he goes into the building where they trace the phone call. And Batman finds a note with the text, "And the world shall end in ice," and also the names that been of the older elderly people that's been killed and who is on the list. And man, look at this! Look at this face of Batman! Isn't this just amazing? How it all looks. And again, with the cold quips, he says, "Unless I outrace the flow of ice, another long life could soon end under the crushing weight of a personal glacier." And then we see to go to this elderly called Vandermeer, and he says, "Ransom, there's a draft in here. Have you left the bloody window open again? Ransom!" So Ransom comes, and he's been taken out by none other than Ice Cube, or Ice in Cube. Leaves the windows open, Ice. He's out cold. Gotcha, Cube. But where's the gold? So Vandermeer says, "Hey, what is taking so long?" And then I want to say the Iceman, but in some way he is the Iceman. So Mr. Freeze comes, and he says, "You should have taken it easy, Cryonics, because when it comes to cold, you ain't felt nothing yet." So Batman comes out too late, and then Cube and Ice wants to, rob the place because, well, this is a very rich man. And then, again, look at this. I love how Kelley Jones draw a very menacing, evil-looking, dangerous, scary-looking Batman. So they attack him. And so Batman, goes into action, kicks their asses, and the action looks very cool. Again, no pun intended. So he kicks their ass. And man, Kelley Jones is so good with shadows and lighting. So the fight continues, and he says, "Got him!" Bash him with the candlestick before, and he gets an elbow to the chin. And then Ice cannot, stop rhyming. He says, "Time for a split, for a midnight lunch," before he smacks me with another sundae. I mean, it just makes actually absolutely no sense. But I love the over the top tones, and she, knocks herself out when Batman uses the batarang. Then Mr. The Help comes. I mean, what's his name again? I forgot. Ransom. Yes, Ransom comes, and he's been frozen into place because Mr. Freeze uses his cryogenics on him, and he says, "Cool it!" And he says, "You again." So he's boasting a little about his murderers, his victims, and he attacks the Batman. And he also, but Batman uses a shield from, I don't know, one of these statues that is around the place. And also Mr. Freeze throws the head of Vandermeer towards him. And he says, "Forecast, head-sized hail." It doesn't make any sense, but it's so funny. So again, Mr. Freeze uses his cryonic beams to freeze the hallway to slow down the Batman, and then Batman uses a bomb or an explosive. And I also love that he just does this. Looks so cool, man, and it's this tiny bomb and also this facial expression and these very long pointed ears. Just so cool. Again, no pun intended. So he's in the room with Freeze, and Freeze attacks him. And Freeze says, "A shield without armor, Batman, spells doom for the Dark Knight." Freeze freezes the shield along with his arm, and Batman is now off balance, and he needs to take care of it quickly because otherwise nerve damage and circulatory damage is going to kick in. But then he says, "Got to shatter the ice," and he says the cooling escaping in his helmet, and he pushes him to the fireplace, and it ends with this image. And he says, "My suit, breached, coolant, released. Can't last more than an hour without my helmet." And he says, "Shut up, Freeze," with all this freezing on this balloon. It's just great. "The police will shortly arrive to put you on ice for a very long time." And he says, "It's over. A hot night with frozen forever, and with the ice demons awaiting his return to hell. He puts him into the freezer. Oh man, I had so much fun with this comic. It's just so, like I said, over the top, and it's so well done. It's a small short story with a lot of humoristic detail and great art, and I don't know, it's just pure fun. And that once in a while you just need a comic that's pure fun without going into the nitty gritty and the underlying storylines that's been planting the seed and figuring out what it all means. No, this is just straightforward, cool, very entertaining book, and it brings me to the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching as always. Hope you like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.